All right. Well, welcome everybody to day one of our football production webinar here, spotlighting Chyron Prime Click Effects, virtual placement, and some of our other sport portfolio products. We've got a great team here and a great audience that is going to be able to digest to make sure that you are ready for your 2025 football season to be produced at its highest level and be able to leverage our products in the highest manner. We've got a great team assembled here, so I'll turn it over here to Brian Bray to kick us off and introduce us to the rest of the team. Might be on mute, Brian, and then we can get going.
I was trying not to step on you there.
No worries.
All right. It's good to meet everybody. Thanks for taking time to join us. Today, we'll take a look at the start of the football season and basically kind of get everybody ready and have the opportunity to ask questions and whatnot. We have a great team joining us today, and I kind of want to quickly run through an introduction. You should meet most of these people on the conversation, but we have got Owen Seaton here. He's our head of sales, and after this call, probably a lot of folks first point of contact. On our support team, we've got Logan O'Neill. Logan has been with us for several years now and shores up a large amount of clients for us. Cole Taylor is our technical account manager. He's been in support. He's done a lot of the different jobs. Very smart guy. He's on the team, and heading up our support team is Andrew Pearson. Andrew has been with us for, well, since we've had Click Effects here. He's the old man on the team and has definitely got the team behind him. Essie is with our field testing. We've got Max, I believe, is going to be joining us as our project manager, and popping in to say hi is Drew Hahn, our chief growth officer. It's good to have part of the executive staff here with us today as well. So a couple things we're going to go over today. The agenda is basically going to look at game preparation and setup. We're going to look at testing content and data, and then we're going to come back here at the end with best practices and take a look at maybe making a graphic or two. We'll finish everything up with a Q&A, question and answer time. Do feel free in the comment section to put any questions you may have. We'll all try to keep track of that, and if the question that we can answer at that moment in time in our conversation, we'll do so. If it's something that we want to push to the end, we'll be sure and answer all the questions. When we get to the question and answer time, it'll just be, raise your hand and go ahead and ask your question, and we'll get to that. We are hoping that you guys are coming out of this feeling like you're prepared for the season and you've got a good jump up. We are recording this session so that we have the ability to put this in our help page, our Chyron.help page, and we'll give you a little bit more information on that. Today's the first day of 2 days, so we'll come back on Thursday, and on Thursday we'll get a little bit deeper. We'll look a little bit further into what we have for the team. Looking at graphics, looking at data, looking at your setups, just try to give you that next level step on Thursday. So look forward to going with today, and kicking us off will be Andrew Pearson. He's going to jump in and start with basically from jump. Andrew.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. So today we are going to run down basically what a game day operator would come across when they sit down in front of their computer to run Click Effects for an event. And I'm going to start this with talking about the first step usually for someone coming into the venue, coming into the office, and that's the rundown sheet. So we're going to talk about the preparation for that and the different pieces. Then I'll turn it over to Cole, and then we'll end up with Logan doing a section at the end. So the first thing I need to talk about is the Click Effects interface. It is a point and click interface. So as you go through and take a look at all the different buttons that you have, it's simply a click to put something into preview, and a second click to put that into program. I'd like to talk about the different kinds of buttons that we have now. The first one with this dark blue is a video button, and that's going to look at this in the editor. And now we can go through with these video buttons. We can set them to loop. We can set in and out points. We've got a lot of functions there. The next one we have is a still.
Hey, Andrew, I just want to pause you for a second. I think just sharing your screen at this point.
That would be good.
Before we get too far into it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Cole. All right, let's start again then. Video button is first, dark blue. Go ahead and show you what that looks like. This is our video editor where you can set loop, mute, in points and out points, different editing functions for that video. Next, we have a still, which is just a single image. So if you've just got a full screen still you want to bring in and import that, it just comes in as a straight up still. Then we have buttons that are different kinds of graphics. So we have a graphic that is a bug, which only comes out when you take it out. We have a graphic that is an overlay, which attaches to a video that's in program. And when that video leaves, the graphic will follow it. And then we also have a full screen graphic, which acts as a video in this case, when we are talking about inputs and outputs. We do everything as a flow from preview to program. So if I play a video in and it goes to program and I queue up something next to that, we will displace the video with the new item in here. So either we'll displace it with a still, or we may displace it with a full screen video, then depending on what type of full screen graphic, depending on what type of video that is. So let's talk now about some playlist information, creating playlists. Creating playlists in ClickEffects is super easy. Just right click and say create playlist. And I'm going to click and just control click to select some items. And we're going to throw this up in the top. And now we have a playlist. In this playlist, we can set looping on and off. We have 3 different kinds of playback. The first is single play, which means that it will play based on the user clicking on the playlist item. This is really good if you're setting up like your pre-game slides and you want to run through them one at a time. You could create a playlist with all of those slides and simply just hit the button to go to the next one, hit the button, go to the next one, and have it all lined up and ready to go. The next one we have is a continuous playlist. This is just, it will play each video in turn or a still. If you have a still listed in there, you can set how long you want it to play for. And it'll just roll through those one at a time throughout each of the items. This is really good for like your pregame, if you've got some videos to play before everybody comes in. You'll have that running all the time. And the last one is continuous reset. So with the continuous, it'll stop and it knows where you stopped and will pick up where you left off. Continuous reset will automatically set everything back to the first item whenever you play the playlist. All right, next we have, maybe you need to do some recording. So maybe you've got an announcer call or an analysis call, that video that you want to bring in. So what we can do is on this other channel, we have some video playing. And we're going to turn on our live function here, and we can see that we've got this camera in at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go to the video editor, but choose record video. So now I've got all my information here. I can hit record, bring in that analyst video ahead of time. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and hit stop on that. We'll save that as analyst 1. We'll just save it as recording 1. I can type today. There we go. And we're going to do a thumbnail for that and then save and close. And now I have a video to play. When they call for that analyst video, I can punch that in at any time and be ready to go. All right, let's talk about setting up your screen. We have all these things on the side here. We've got all these buttons. How do we make this workable for the game itself, for the event itself? So the first thing I'm going to do is going to go to organizer mode. Just right click organizer mode. And in this view, it lets me change buttons around, move buttons, copy buttons. There's a lot of different functionality here. So on the left-hand side, we have 6 banks. And for each bank, we have 14 pages. And for each page, we have 60 buttons. So there's a lot of space to have a lot of different media content in here. I set this one up for football to be pregame, first quarter, halftime, kind of, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, there's nothing in the pregame view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my intake page where I have a bunch of stuff that I've imported. And I'm just going to control click to highlight all of this stuff. And then I'm going to control C to copy it, go to pregame, and just right click and paste. So your normal keyboard shortcuts work here, no problem. And now I have all my videos. I can now just drag and drop these to put these in whatever order I want. You know, if I want the anthem, we'll go back to our intake. Here's our anthem. I'm going to copy that, paste it. So we're going to have that play. We'll have some announcements play. And I can just set this up as a user with whatever I need to show. You know, going back to all the different pages that I have in here, and I can pull from any one of these pages and pull into my pregame show. The other piece I've got is I've got a bunch of headshots here, headshot videos for each of my players. So I'm going to grab the ones who are the starters. So maybe starting offense. We'll copy those, paste that into pregame, and now I can order these based off of the order the director's going to call. Or I could go in and create a playlist, drag all of my players in here, set it to single play, and now I can drag these and put them in order. Okay, great. Got that saved. We close. And now I can go through and play each one of these videos in turn. It's going to sit there. Now when I'm ready to go to the next one, click on the next one. There it is. And just roll through all those items. Or I could simply just do this from the page itself and just roll through it this way. Have that queued up. They call for it. There it is. All right, another item we can do is how do we make this easy for the user to find things or to quickly call up buttons that you want to play that you always want to have. So for this, we have what are called hotkeys. And probably everybody's familiar with hotkeys, but you can simply just right-click on any media button, go to Assign Hotkey. In this case, this is flag, so I'm going to we'll just do Shift F for flag, close that, and now whatever page I'm on, Shift F is going to put that into preview and then into program. I also like to have set up where I might have items that are on the function key at the top of the keyboard. So we'll set goal to be F1. There's already one for F1, so I'm going to replace it in this case. And now I can come in here and take the goal and play that. And this is actually running on our GPU channel. So if I flip over and look at our output, here is our goal listed. So this particular machine is what we call an events box. So we have 2 channels of SDI output, 1 channel of input, and then we also have some of our GPU boards, video boards. So in this case, we have a stripe, which is maybe like an end zone stripe size if I zoom out on this one. And then we have a 360 ribbon as well. And I can start some advertisements playing on that. So we'll zoom out and you'll be able to see the entire ribbon. If I flip over to our output, you can now see kind of the output that's showing on those. This is what goes out to the video boards themselves. All right, another thing we can do is we can use what we call remotes. So just like I had the flag on a hotkey, I can also create a remote. And it's very easy to pull in multiple items with the remote. So let's say I need to have the flag here. So we're going to call this flag, save and close this remote. And now we go to a remote assignment window. So that's our ClickEffects network. We've got our machine listed here. We're going to go to the pregame page, and here's my flag remote. And now I can just drag and drop items into there. If I go to SDI2, I can also call in another item that we can play. If I go to GPU channels, we can also call in another item to play, so that when I play this remote, it's now going to fire items on all of those different players based on what I'm calling. So I've got flag here, I've got my takeover that I called for, and I've got my advertisement pulled up. So you can synchronize all of that coming up and playing at the same time. Now, I will say that as part of your pregame rundown, you do want to go through and click on every one of your content pieces, every one of your media buttons, to make sure that they are all kind of running through and playing what you expect them to play. There have been lots of times where somebody doesn't have a video set with the right endpoint, and so it shows up in the wrong place. Or potentially, if you want a video to loop or not loop, you can set that. But you always want to make sure that you're going through each of these pieces and setting them up and just kind of rolling through your entire game to figure out kind of what you want to do. So what I've seen now is, oh, my first quarter, I didn't copy anything in here. So I'm going to go back to my intake page, and I'm going to grab some prompts. Go to organizer mode for that. So let's close out everything here. Right click and organizer mode. And we'll quickly grab those, copy them, and paste them into first quarter. And now I'm ready to go for whatever may happen during that quarter, whatever buttons I've pasted in here. All right, how to bring content in. So ahead of your game time, what you're going to do is go to, I usually have an intake page. So I've got a page here. I'm going to right click and go into import files. So this pulls me into my media content list on the media drive. So all of our content is stored on a media drive. All of our space is here. And there's a couple of different ways to organize content. Some people will go in and create folders directly on the M drive. Some people will go into the Click Effects folder and then go to the video folder, and they'll have content listed here. Or if they are using Prime and Prime Scenes, they'll go to Prime and then Projects, NAB, and then Clips. So we have a lot of things listed in here. I need to bring in, let's say I need to bring in our headshot vids. So I'm going to click on this guy, click on this folder. And from here, you want to make sure that you click on the MOV files. The PPC files are what are created by the software when you import a file, and that's used in the Prime side where you can do some special designations for your video. So we'll click all of those and hit open. And at this point now, we're just going to go through and start adding in all of our buttons. You'll notice that it'll slide over buttons as well. So go back to our page here, and we have our buttons. They're just slid over to the side. And now I'm ready to click and drag these or play them or put them wherever I need them to go. Let's see. Hotkeys, remotes. All right, at this point, again, I'm going to reiterate, go through and check all of your content. Play everything, play all of your playlists, go through all your buttons. Always good practice. Make sure that you've updated your playlist with the correct order. So if I go back to a playlist that I have, simply just right click and edit, and you can then drag and drop these guys, put them in whatever order you need them to be. So if I need to plug in some different graphics here or different media content there, I can do that and order those however I like. All right, so to continue on with our startup, I'm going to throw it over to Cole to talk about some of our other pieces that you'll need to do at the beginning of the game.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, so like Andrew just went over, you've imported your content, you've organized yourself a little bit, you've kind of gotten things to a good place in regards to things you need to ingest. Now, the next step is getting yourselves ready for the matchup that's happening today. And there's some things that we have implemented from previous, maybe you're thinking about a legacy version of Click Effects. The new things that come over with Prime is a lot of the logic and a lot of the control panels that Prime allows you to bring in. And I'll show you kind of all about that in just a second here. So obviously sports, two teams, they're playing each other. Traditionally, you might have a different graphic or video set that is going to be showing the matchup for the day, right? So, home team versus away team. I'm just going to navigate over here to a game in progress graphic that I built for football. This guy here, and Andrew, you can flip over to the output to be able to see that. So you can see just up at the top there, currently it's Buffalo Bills versus Titans. Now flipping back over to the UI. Normally you would go into the editor, and from there you'd go and make all of these logo changes, selecting them, and you might have 10 of these littered around your venue, changing them on ribbon boards, items within the vomitories, the concession stands. You're going to be changing a lot of different logos. With the power of Prime and control panels, I can pop up here to my scene control panels. And now attached to this particular graphic, sorry, I just shook away that back window. Attached to this graphic, I have a couple different items that I can change. So working off of tri-codes, again, this is stuff as you're building these graphics. The first time you would implement some logic like this and build a control panel. And then just on a game-to-game basis, you'd be able to change, change the tri-code and then see the effect on the graphic. So let's go ahead and change this to Washington. And now you can see on the output, my away team is now reflecting Washington. Again, this is something that you can go ahead and do throughout your whole building, where you're making one change to set your graphics for the show in the game that's happening in front of you that day. The other really cool thing about this, you could set this up so it's not just affecting graphics, but also affecting maybe like screensaver videos or different ribbon videos that would be contextual to the game that you're playing. So really, really powerful stuff to be able to set something like this up. The operator comes in, instead of going to every different graphic that they need to change, they just change it in one spot. And just like that, it's reskinned everything for that particular game. You can also think about this in a cool way to be able to reskin things for specialty games. So maybe you have, a military appreciation night, a 4th of July game, whatever it might be. Again, you could have a drop down here where it's selecting the different look for tonight's game. And especially within professional sports nowadays, there's so many different looks. City Connect, it's obviously a big one, you know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, a bunch of different games where they're going to reskin everything to have a special look and feel. And again, you can just do it in one spot. It's going to affect everything. Some other stuff that I just have built within in this control panel, super simple, just to be able to change whatever sponsor it is for the night. So you can see here in my output, just have a sponsor on the right-hand side. Again, this is just a quick picker for me to be able to go ahead and say, I'm going to choose this sponsor. Let's go ahead and click forward, sure. And then I have a little selector down here as well. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. And I can go ahead and change a background color as easy as that. Again, super flexible for you to be able to make changes on the fly without having to go into the graphics and actually adjust the graphic itself. Really, really good stuff to kind of make the operator a little bit more flexible and easier to get things set up for the day. The next sort of thing, once you've set yourself up for the game, the next thing that above and beyond bringing graphics in, bringing content in, and getting your matchup set is going to be making sure your data is actually showing up and it's set to populate the correct fields and everything across those lines. There's a couple really cool things that we have built in, especially talking professional sports. Usually you're going to be getting your serial data from a game controller, like an OES controller, a Daktronics controller. And obviously that's something that the building is going to be controlling. And sometimes those people are busy doing other things, right? Sometimes you want to be able to test that those are actually linked to your graphics beforehand. So I just popped open our COM-port module here. So these are the settings that I would set up depending on what sport and what controller is in the actual venue. So here we have an OES controller and it's running the football protocol. So that's the parser that's taking the data and parsing it into the different fields for football. And on this other tab here, OES football monitor, you can see on the right-hand side, these are all of the different fields that are available within that data set. So just from here, something really, really cool, even though data isn't flowing into it, I still have the ability to go and, let's say, push something to the game clock. So within my system, and again, this is exactly where it would come in if a serial clock feed was coming in. I can say, let's say there's 10 minutes on the clock. I go ahead and click enter. And now if Andrew, you can flip me back over, perfect. You can see now it's displaying 10 minutes on the clock. You can keep that there for a second, Andrew. But just super quickly, I can go ahead and populate a couple different things to be able to say, okay, I have confidence that when this data starts flowing, as long as it's coming into that COM-port settings window, I'm going to be able to see it in my graphic. These are all things, again, you've finished everything in regards to setting up your show. Now let's get the confidence that everything data-wise is working. If we flip me back over to the UI, perfect. Other than COM data, you might have a couple other different types of data flowing in, depending on what sport you're doing and how advanced some of the data flows could be. That's what we have our data window here for. So in this case, again, just checking that things are actually coming in. A lot of these data sources, especially in college sports, they might be a laptop that gets set up on game day where, again, somebody from the NCAA or whatever league would come in and plug their laptop in, and you want to make sure, obviously, that network connection is established and you can actually see the data coming in. So you'd pop into your data setting window here, pop over to XML sources, or if it's a JSON source coming in, same idea. For instance, here, this NCAA football out-of-town scores, I'd go ahead and just right-click, say View XML, and I know that, okay, I'm seeing XML here. I know that connection's working okay. Or if I'm not seeing XML, or if it's old XML, I can go ahead and take the necessary troubleshooting steps to get that connection resolved. That's sort of the most of it for data. Obviously, on the Prime side of things, there are a bunch of different data sets that you'd be able to dig into. A lot of really cool API connections using JavaScript and all of that fun stuff. We'll leave a lot of that stuff for the next session on Thursday in regards to talking about how to build control panels, how to make these matchup selectors, all of that really, really good stuff. I think that's pretty much all I had for my part here. Andrew did definitely cover everything with media buttons and being able to make sure you've checked that every media button you play is showing up properly. Things are looking good out on the board. Obviously getting like a visual representation that, okay, it's playing well in my system here. How do things look out on the actual field of play? And then from there, obviously going through your entire rundown and kind of faxing all of those different items out.
Hey,
That's
Cole,
yeah.
one of the things I did not do was go over a playlist that is a remote playlist. Is remote?
Okay.
You can do that real quick?
Yeah, for sure. Let me pop over here to sponsors. So what is a remote playlist, or a playlist that is remote? Andrew kind of went over the different options within your playlist editor here. So if I pop open this playlist, these are a couple different graphics that would play on a ribbon for sponsorships. But let's say I have a sponsorship, or I have multiple outputs. Let's say it's a couple different ribbons around your building, or you have a couple end zone boards or something like that you want to be able to tie them all together. So when the ribbons are playing a graphic, everything else is playing that same look. That's where we would use an is remote playlist. So that's this little guy right here. So if I were to go ahead and let's rename this guy here, sponsors. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and check is remote. I've got my first sort of set of graphics loaded in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. One section that I don't believe Andrew dug into too far was this remote tab in here, and then Click Effects Network. So this is where anything that I've created as a remote would show up. And this could be on any system within my network. This is how you're going to be able to trigger something on one box and have it affect, every board in your building globally. And there's lots of really creative, cool stuff that you can do in here that we probably won't dig in too far on this particular call. But if you guys had any questions moving forward, definitely be able to go a little bit further into it. I'm going to navigate down to the corresponding page. So I'm looking at my sponsors page, and then you can see here, now I have that sponsor playlist that is remote. So this guy right here. And if I pop that open one more, you can see those 3 different pieces of content that I have in that sponsor playlist are now available for me to tie other media to. So let's say, for instance, I don't think I have anything on this particular box, but let's pop back over here. Say, just for instance, if I want to go ahead and, you know what, I'll go back to the sponsors board, and I will just take one of these buttons and I will tie that to the stripe output. So now anytime that this GP Coors Light item plays, I'm going to drag this into the little command window down here. And anytime that Coors Light Wraps 30th plays, it's going to also play this button onto the stripe, and so on and so forth. You would go ahead and tie all of your different pieces of media over to the correlating media. So this is where you would take that one look that's just going around your 360, and then tying in again like your end zone boards, vomitory boards, field boards, anything like that. So now I don't have to, make sure that I'm playing things out all at the same time. As soon as this playlist changes from Coors Light to Ford, it's going to then change on every other board that I have tied to that. So we'll go ahead and just show you right here. I go ahead and throw that up, and I'm going to take this down because that's an overlay. You can see that there is this piece of content here playing out at the same time, and we'll go ahead and wait for this to change. And now you see they've both switched over. Obviously, in this case, they're not matching right now, but the idea is there that, there's a playlist and there's content that's looking at what's playing on that playlist and saying, okay, I see what I want to see. I'm going to put this graphic up now. I think that's sort of hopefully. Anything else with that one, Andrew?
The only thing I would say is, going back to the playing all of your content, it is possible in the remote section to kind of double play something on the same channel. So if you have a 360 playlist and you accidentally assign another 360 clip to that, it would be a problem because it's trying to play 2 videos or 2 stills or 2 graphics at the same time. So that's another reason to just go through and make sure you play all items to verify that you have all the boards selected correctly and all of the graphics and videos coming from or going to the correct outputs. A good thing to check before your game starts.
Totally. And for those who haven't seen or worked with ClickEffects too much in the past, just to show you how easy it is to really like build something like this that is integrating data. So again, everything that you build as a graphic is also a prime scene. And again, if you haven't seen ClickEffects, chances are you might not have seen prime, and that's stuff that we'll get really, really deep into on Thursday. But again, it's super, super capable broadcast CG that's been around for a long time. And that designer now lives underneath all of this. The really, really cool thing as well is you'd be able to take a Photoshop document that has all of your different layers and aspect ratios and groups and everything like that, and directly import it into here. And it's going to hold all of those layers up in the layer section up here. One quick thing I just wanted to show you to be able to tie this to like your serial data. So I'm just going to click on my flock here. Up at the top, we have a couple different tools. I'll go ahead and pop open the data tool. I'll click on the flock, select this as dynamic data. You can also make it a manual data object where, you know, this is a field that me as the operator, I'm going to go ahead and populate what's going into it. But you can go dynamic data object. And then from there, all of your different data providers that you have set up in the system would show up. In this case, just OES football. I'm going to go through the different drop downs, and I'm going to say this is going to be the game clock. And now any value that comes across in that serial connection as the game clock is going to populate into that text field. There's other sort of cool things that you can throw in there as sort of like error checks. So if there's no data that's coming through, put this. If there is an error value, put this, so that it gives me a visual cue to say something's going on there. Yeah, really, really simple to use and quick and easy to set up. Like if we needed to, you know, teach somebody to do this, chances are they could get up and going and populate a variety of graphics over like a 10-minute training session. Super, super easy. And same idea on the XML data side or JSON data side. Same idea. It's just a separate little dropout here. I'd go ahead and I'd click on whatever value that I want to affect with this data. And then from here, I'd go through and select whatever source that I've set up or view that I've set up. And then from there, it would just tie to that particular text field or data object. Anything else, Andrew? Any thoughts?
I think that covers it, man.
Cool deal. I think from here, we're going to hand it off to Logan. And I think like we mentioned at the beginning, if you guys have any questions during the presentation, feel free to throw them into the chat there. And we'll try to pause and sort of tackle them as they come in. Otherwise, we have the Q&A session at the end if there's anything lasting there.
Cool. Thanks, Cole. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to start off with our best practice documentation here. Let me find it on this machine. We have them up here. We have both. Perfect. Yeah, so this documentation, just to summarize it a bit, they go over optimal settings for content. So if you can see here, we have GTC, ProRes 422, DNX HD, H.264. So these are the kind of codecs we like to encode our content at. They also go over a few other optimal tips for daily operation. One we would like to highlight is rebooting the system. So usually we recommend rebooting after you add content. This allows us to save a backup of the system. So that way, if there were any issues, that we could basically load that back up and get you back to going. Other things this details is steps to take if you're experiencing issues. So it just details some troubleshooting tips for us to better understand what's going on. So things like, was it a software crash? Did the software freeze? Was it a hardware crash? What happened when you were, what were you doing on the system when these events occurred? That kind of thing. So that's pretty much our best practices. Offer that to anyone who needs it. Let's see. On the note of issues, we do offer a backdraft product. So our backdraft is essentially software that continually makes backups of primary system, and it can be deployed in a pinch. So while we're working on the main system, troubleshooting things, you can be up and running on a backup version of your machine. There's that. Okay. Now I'm going to kick off things with our play duration tracking. Let's see here. So we need to be in intake. So this is for my next one. So if we go to the edit machine. So play duration tracking, I guess I can speak to that real quick. Essentially, it allows us to track advertisements throughout the game. So it'll basically track how long you've played each object. So I'll show you how to assign objects and track them. So I think it's an intake, right, Andrew, or is it in the GPU? GPU. So it should be in one of these folders. Andrew, where's our ads at in this? I can't hear you, Andrew, by the way.
There you go. You're all set now.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, this is the page I was looking for. So we just wanted to take a look at these two ads. So also, quick bonus tip here: if you don't like the, since this is a ribbon board, the preview image is a bit squished, so we can change that by shift clicking this, selecting a portion on this canvas, and clicking OK. And then we just save that, and it'll look a little bit better. Do that for this one, and I'll do that for this one. Can't edit it while it's in playout. All right, that looks a little bit better. Okay, so play duration tracking. So let me get to that real quick. All right, so this is our play duration tracking window. This shows basically every media object in the machine, the time it's being played, the target we have set for it. So if you wanted to play one ad for 10 minutes or another ad for 5 minutes, that would show here. And then the sponsor that it's assigned to. So these top ones aren't assigned to anything. I think we already have Google assigned here. So we'll right click it and we can assign it a sponsor or remove it a sponsor. So if we want to remove the sponsor, we just right click remove. That'll remove it. Let's say we wanted to add a sponsor. You can right click, hit sponsor, and we can assign this sponsor. These are the sponsor selects. So this is what we currently have in the system. If you wanted to add a new sponsor, we do that in a separate window, I believe. So we'll just go ahead and click Google for this to assign it back to Google. And then we have our LG master brand. So we'll look for that one, should be in the middle here. So it's also already assigned. So go ahead and you would click it, right click, do that. So as the object plays out, this will track upwards. To set a tracking duration. So let's say we want this to play for 10 minutes. It's already set here. So you'd put in 600 seconds. If you want to do 5 minutes, we do 300 seconds. And then this one's already set to 5. So we'll change this one to 10 just so it's different. And then once we play this out, you'll see that the duration of the ad is being tracked. That's pretty much it for the play duration tracking. There's also another feature, the play log editor, where we can basically print this stuff out in a physical format for you to verify or send off to anyone you would need. Moving on from that, I believe Andrew already talked about importing graphics a little bit. He showed, I think it's in, I would just import it in here. So he showed that you can right click and import files. You can also use a Windows shortcut. So Windows E will bring up your file explorer from here. Usually your content will be on media. So we're going to make a birthday graphic. Essentially, it's a short little message that'll display a bunch of names in a sequential order. So we'll pull in, I think it's this guy. So yeah, that's the image we want. I'm going to import that from our media. So that's how you would import it. If we wanted to make this a message, we can edit this. This actually comes in as a video editor. So we have to actually create this as a graphic. Apologies. So when we create a graphic, this brings up our graphic editor. To import an image into the graphic editor, you would select the add image icon. Add the happy birthday. I think I might have added the video here. No, that was right. There it goes. Okay, so the image is a little too big here, so we're going to use the adjustment tool. And we will, I think it's behind the data window.
It's on your right there.
Oh, yes, sorry. I'm used to having this on the left side. So we have our alignment tool here. We just fit this to screen and it looks good like that. To add our message here, we would click the add message option. This essentially is a text object that is looking at a text file. So we'll make this a little bigger so we can see it. 150 should be good, and I'll change the color so it's a little more visible. So that's the message object. Where is the, here it is. So let me put this on the left side. So this is our message object. Essentially, this is going to look for a text file on the machine that we've already pre-created. So usually you'll get like a list of names for someone's birthdays. We kind of have that here. I thought it was on desktop. Yep, here it goes. So if we open that, this will point this to this text file. If we launch a notepad, we'll see here, these are all the names we have for birthdays. So each line will be displayed one at a time. These blank spaces basically tell the system that to skip this and just show the next one solo. You can add an asterisk in this position here with a space, and it would show them all at once, like this. We don't want that, so we'll keep it this way. We're cool with this, so we'll go ahead and exit that out. We don't need to save it. Right now, our rotation is set to 10 seconds. We'll do 3 for demonstration purposes. And our message index is essentially where the message will continue from. So if you were to play this and you stop at the 5th name, if you were to open this graphic, this would show 5. You can basically leave this at 1 just so it starts from scratch every time. Once you have that set, once the message is now linked to a text object, I mean, it's pretty much it, done. So we can save this out. I think we already have one in here, so I'll just overwrite it. Going to save it again. I believe it should be in our, is it an intake?
You show us the Control F and search for it.
Yeah, so it's in the, so in message 1. So there we go, Control F, we can search for objects. So this is in our demo tab here. So this is the one we just made. So if we play this, it's gonna play out. Yeah, I made it on the GPU channel, that's why it's showing over there. But yeah, now it's playing out here. And it'll just go through the line every 3 seconds and display each name. Yeah, so aside from that, I think we're gonna kick off to the Q&A section. If you've used Google Meets before, you'll notice there should be a hand icon at the bottom of the screen. You can use that if you have any questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. So I see there's been a couple of questions here in the chat. Can you program an object to stop displaying and change to another object after X amount of time? Andrew, do you want to take this one here?
Certainly. Hang on. Okay, so this is a good question. So it depends on what type of button it is. If it is a video button, then what we would do is simply set up a playlist that would play a button and then automatically switch to the next one at the beginning of that list. If it's something that you want to, cut off in the middle, there's a couple of ways. You could edit the video and set an out point and then have it transfer over automatically with a playlist or by queuing the next clip. Or you can create what we call triggers, which we can talk more about on Thursday, that can kick in at a specific time and then fire an action that says stop this and play this. So that's another way to do it. We could also do it with a control panel item from Prime. So we could pull in a button there that says, you know, switch at that point. So there's a bunch of different ways, and it really just kind of depends on what the specific situation is for that. So again, if you had questions like this, feel free to call us to ask. We're happy to, you know, jump in with you on a question and say, hey, let's figure out the best way that works for you, how to do this. But in this case, there's definitely more than one way to complete that task.
I see your follow-up here, Scott, as well. And super good question in regards to play duration for ads and sponsorships, to be able to kind of knock one out of the list once it's reached its target duration. Unfortunately, it's not built into the actual like ClickEffects software right now. On the Prime side of things, which is, like I said, the designer that lives underneath it, it's definitely possible to write that in with a little bit of a condition saying, hey, when this has reached this amount of playtime, let's go ahead and stop using that and use this instead. So it's not as clean of a workflow as we'd like it to be. It's on the roadmap for us to be able to get that into our sponsor or play duration logger and play duration editor. But really good question. Currently not within the UI of ClickEffects right now, but it is possible on the back end within the software. And I hope that, okay, awesome. That actually leads me right into the next question that was listed there. In regards to hardware workflow, is it necessary to have two computers for broadcasting media, so for playing out media? And you're asking one computer to prepare the graphics in Prime, if for an example, and then another to play it out in ClickEffects. There's a ton of different workflows that you could have for something like this, and depending on the actual application, so what control room and what venue it's actually living in, it can be flexible to kind of do whatever you want. So in regards to creating graphics, there is the light editor like we've shown you here in ClickEffects. This is sort of, I call it like the legacy ClickEffects editor, where you can totally, you know, put together a fairly basic graphic, tie data to it, that sort of thing. The next layer, like I mentioned, Prime, you can see here that Prime does live within the same system. It's always going to be installed on there. Again, currently as it sits right now, you can't open them up at the exact same time. So I could go and edit in Prime on the same system. Once I'm done making my edits, pop it back over to ClickEffects, and I could either, you know, directly see my changes that I've just made to that Prime scene, or I could go ahead and decide to import that Prime scene into ClickEffects, and it would import as a graphic. Or if you wanted to, what we sort of suggest for people in the meantime that would like that instant workflow to be able to make a change in Prime and see it happen in ClickEffects, we would have like a laptop sitting off to the side that's running the Prime Designer, or a separate system that could just be your Prime Designer, and that's your CG operator, and they're connecting to the project that's happening within ClickEffects, and then from there, any changes they make automatically get saved out and pushed over to ClickEffects. I hope that sort of explains it. I know there's a couple different ways of doing it, but no, by any means, you do not need a separate computer to be able to use Prime to edit those scenes. Awesome. Cool. Any other questions as we're sort of hanging out here?
I think Scott had another one. I'm gonna let him type it in. Or perfect. Okay, so yes, two questions. One of them on remotes, the other on scene control panels. So for remotes, the general idea for remote is to coordinate content being played in the software, especially if you have multiple systems. then being able to use remotes across those systems to coordinate is kind of the main power of that remote. And that is we call that a media remote. We also have within the media remote area, we can go in and add what we call commands. So if I go in and grab a command here, this one's all black. I can add a command here, and now I get a list of items that I can do, like clear, turn things on, live toggle, loop video on and off, things like that. I'm going to go to stop all media all right there. So now if I were to use this all black remote, then it would basically call as if I was clicking a stop button across everything that is playing currently on this system. So to use remotes from other systems, you would see each of your ClickEffects systems appear here, and you could then either tie content to this individual machine, or if you click on another machine, you could tie content to the remotes on that machine. The third type of remote that's out there is what we call an external device remote. So if I go through, I have a number of different external devices that we have pre-programmed, or we can add new ones as well with generic UDP or TCP functionality, where I can actually call an external device to do something for me. We call a preset, change board brightness, things like that. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do with that remote. You can also nest remotes. So if you need to have something where it plays content and it also calls another item, which calls board brightness for multiple machines, you can also kind of set that layering. And then it goes back to, verifying that with your testing. You want to make sure that it's all doing exactly what you want before you get into a game situation. For the other question, scene control panels. Yes, those are created in Prime, and it's the same methodology that you would create a Prime control panel. It shows up the same way. We've got our view menu for scenes. This will populate as soon as you have a graphic available to have it populate. So, and if you have multiple graphics, you'll just get those in tabs down the side. So pretty easy to create those. We'll go over that a bit on Thursday. And one other piece I wanted to show you especially for the game day operators that are out there, we do have the ability to use what we call a data controller, in this case, a player selector. So I'm going to go to, this pulls from my XML data, and it gives me a list based on that XML data. So I've got now all of my players listed here. So if I go find my headshot video, right now I have Kenyon selected, so he's ready to play. So I'll send that out, and it's ready to go. And now instead of clicking on another graphic down here, I can just click on the next player. So now here's Blake, and we've got his video, and then Ali, we got his video. So this is another way, as far as the user operation runs, that they can call through and do these different items. All right, if there are any other questions, we can take those, or we can throw it over to Owen.
Just had one more quick comment for Scott. If you're really interested in learning how those scene control panels are created, we're definitely going to go over them on Thursday. If you wanted to check stuff out before then, I'm going to post a link to our baseball webinar that we did before the baseball season started this previous season. And from there, you'll see I walk you through, from start to finish of literally creating the scene, going through importing elements, creating the control panel, all the way to finalizing and making sure everything's working. So just posting that into the chat now for you. Yeah, otherwise, I think, nothing else is coming up. I think, Owen, feel free to take it away.
Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everything that you guys showed today. And I have dropped my contact information in the chat, and if anybody needs to reach out, but wanted to bring up just a couple of things. So we have a very robust online training platform called Chyron Academy, which is available on our website. Signing up is free. It's a self-paced directory, that kind of training directory that will take you through all of our suite of products at your own pace. The Prime Designer software is part of that, and it's a free download when you sign up for the Academy, so you can start to design inside Prime Designer, which is, as was mentioned today, kind of underneath the ClickEffects platform, but also is the heart of our CG platform as well. So And of course, they do a great job of talking together. But today's stuff was mainly about your game day atmosphere, providing for your in-bowl experience. We also have amazing broadcast tools as well. So if you're also responsible for streaming or broadcast or anything like that, we can certainly help with those needs as well. There's a lot of crossover between the products and the solutions. It's usually just a slight tweak of the workflow. So we're happy to have those discussions with you. And, all of our venue products, really, we don't try to bring you into a workflow and say, this is the way you have to work, the way you have to operate. We like to have conversations about the workflow that you like to have and how we can accommodate those workflows with our suite of products. So always happy to answer any questions about that and show you some examples of teams around the country and around the world that we use our products to power their game day experiences. And we look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. And if we'll make one last chance for questions, if anybody's got any additional questions that the team can handle for you. If not, we will see you all on Thursday. All right. I don't think we have any other questions. So we will see you guys on Thursday, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thanks a lot.